So the purpose of today's course is to give us a quick overview of the MyRegData system. And by the end of the course, we'll be able to identify how this will help you create your MyRegData returns, and we'll be able to run those through quite quickly and carefully. About us, the RegData system has been developed with the help of simplifies. We've worked together over the last several years, and they've helped quite a lot with the creating of the heading usage and things on those lines to make sure that those match and can be put up. The MyRegData system itself is primarily a bookkeeping software. We have the options then to create the additional information that's required for the RegData reporting, and we do sections A through to K, and people do those sorts of help with that. And that's amazing that the reports themselves, once the data's in there, can be created within about 30 minutes, saving you a lot of time and effort there on creating that regulatory requirements. RegData is a completely cloud-based system. It's all securely encrypted, same level of security as the bank, so it's very safe, very secure. You can access it from anywhere you need to. And again, as I say, you can make the reporting requirements handle relatively quickly in a few minutes on there. We have some additional modules purely for the FCA side of it, so we are able to complete the RegData reporting. We have a staff and compliance registers on there, so you can handle any complaints and put those in there. The staff register, again, we can then list all your different staff registers, what their qualifications are, and things on those lines. We're able to record obviously your income and expenditure transactions on there. You can split those down then from the institutions on their specific heading types, which then helps with the regulatory FCA fees and reporting. You can import transactions from your bank as well, which works very well for the expenditure side of it. So you can group those in and import those relatively straight to help sort of cut down on the actual keying that's needed. And again, we can create recurring transactions. So if you have regular ones, so your rent and things on those lines and power bills that come out currently every month, you can set up recurring transactions just to aid with the implement sort of speed of entry. As it's a bookkeeping software, it does have all the bookkeeping tools and financial reporting that you would expect in those, so your trial balance, profit and loss accounts, balance sheets, etc. And it does come as multi-user as standard, so you can have one for your compliance guys, you can have one for your accountant as well as yourself, so you create as many users as you need in the system. Okay, what I'll do before we go into the actual RegData report itself, I'll give you a quick look through of the software. So as I say, it's a fully cloud-based system. It's my demo account. Okay, so across the top menu, we have the settings options on here. So again, these are where the specific IFA settings are on there. So as I say, we have a complaints register. If we would look at an existing complaint, we can put the date of the complaint, who it was about, which particular advisor, what the service type was. So these are all the standard drop downs you would expect to see within the FCA Connect site itself. Whether the complaint's been upheld, if there's any redress paid, when it was closed, etc. on those lines. So you've got an option there for recording any complaints that are on there. Within the normal settings, we have some additional things on here. So whether you're a firm with investment permissions, the type of independent advice you give, whether you're independent or restricted, or whether you're a member of a group, and if you have any appointed reps. Again, we have a staff register on here, so we can add members of staff. You can put your advisors on there and your admin staff as well. So we've got the name and the details on there, and again, whether they advise for mortgages or they have any protection investment advice. We can set their permissions and qualifications. So it's just an admin staffed user on there. Look at one of the advisor ones, also some slightly different options. So as you say, you can say whether they can give advice, whether to supervise others, their qualifications, SPS dates, and things on those lines can all be connected on there. This then helps when we actually do the FCA reporting. It'll fill in the advisor section on the section J, I think. If you're a firm with mortgage permissions, 12 months when we report the advisor charging rates. So again, you can set those up as to whether you give independent or restricted, whether you charge a fixed fee or a percentage on both the initial and the ongoing fees. So you can put your charging structures into here, and then that gets submitted along with the rest of the reporting. Data entry in the system is very straightforward. If you come in to record some income coming into there, we come in, record income at the top. We choose a customer, so again we can set our institutions up and end users into here as well. To add customers, it's very straightforward. There's a little plus button at the side, and enter there some quite basic details against the customer's details. Once that's come in, put the date that the transactions come in if there's any particular references that are required on it. And again, we can set multiple bank accounts on there as well, so you can choose which bank account it's going into. The heading usage then has been, as I say, worked over with simplifies for the last several years, so we're making sure we're capturing all the individual headings. So you'll find you've got your investment headings on there, your protection, GI, type 1s on there, mortgage, all the individual different headings that could possibly be used. You can create your own ones on here as well. So if you do need, you can hit the little plus sign and create a new heading if it's specific for yourselves. Plus as well, there's also ones on here for non-regulated income and things like that. So if you have bank interest as an example, that's obviously not regulated by the FCA, so there's no fees attached to it. But we get our statement from our end provider. We can choose what the type it is, that much, and our value. And again, we can create as many lines on a document as we need. So if with Aviva, we have several different income headings, we can split and attach them to it. We save the line, and that will obviously then update the bank balance as a receipt into it for us, and it will attach that to their customer's account. So we can add many things on here that we need to. If we have any callbacks or anything on those lines, you can also enter minus values onto the income heading as well, which is in essence a deduction from it. Once we save the transaction, it will then appear in the income list. So from here, we can go in and, if I've not bank reconciled it, we can edit it. So if I put the wrong amount on there, that's been 1230, not 12,000. We can save and update those as well. And again, we can change heading usage date. So if you have entered any data by mistake, it's very easy to address and correct that. The expenditure side, so your business expenses, again, that's a very similar thing to do. So we'll come in there, we'll record an expense, create your suppliers. If you want to have a general account on there, and then we'll have our usual headings. So we can put our accountancy advertising. So we've got some car insurance as an example. And again, we can put multiple lines on there and change it. So every time that comes through, it will then take the expense out of the bank. The overarching side of the bank accounts, then if we click on the bank tab, as I say, we can create as many different bank accounts as needed by the business, and the normal bank accounts, credit card accounts, etc. If we click on the view transactions, it'll then give us a detailed list of all the incomings and outgoings on there. And again, we can split that by bank account at the top. You see there's that telephone expenses and things on those lines. So again, each of these transactions, you can use a little pencil icon to drill into those and amend them if needed. We have an option of transferring, so if we're moving money from one bank account to another, rather than doing an expense and then income out of one and to the other, you can use your transfer button, which works very well on there. So you pick the account it's coming from, the account it's coming to, and how much, and that'll do the bank transaction in the back end for us. We have option to enter statements. So again, we can pick from our bank statement. So to view the reporting on there, so that put for different date ranges as we reconcile things. So we've also reconciled a bank statement, it comes into the statement section. We have the option to bank reconcile as well. So if we click onto that one, we can choose the account that we're reconciling. We use this from our normal bank account. We'll put the closing balance in from the bank account, the page number and the dates, and basically we'll go down the list and tick the ones that appeared on the bank rec. Once we've done that, hopefully the unreconciled balance then should return to 0, and we'll be able to reconcile that. Once we've reconciled transactions, then locks them in the system, so we can't edit them any further at that point. Under accounting, then we have ETB, so that's the main accounting document. So if we click on that for the current financial year, that will then roll up all the income and expense transactions by the individual headings that we've chosen to give us a grouping of those. And we also have the option to put adjustments, so any accountancy journals or corrections that are needed, they can be put through and they will show into this report as a separate entry. Once we come into there, we can actually click on any of the headings and drill into those, and that will then show us the transactions behind it. And again, we can click on the little eye sign to actually look at that transaction and drill into it to see it in more depth. It's grouped into all the individual sections, so you get your profit and loss at the top, and then your expense details, balance sheet items at the bottom. It's the standard sort of bookkeeping side of it. The main benefit of MyRegData is once the data is in there, is then actually creating the FCA RMAR reporting. So to do that, we go into the reporting section. We have a RegData report on there. From that, we put the closing period on there. So I'll do that to the 31st of March. It will then through a wizard, so it'll then ask us for any information that's not purely held within the system or that's changeable at the time. So we'll come through, we'll confirm the trading status of the company, so whether it's limited, partnership, sole trader, etc. Whether the firm has or mortgage permissions or not, and whether it's a 6 or a 12-month report. Depending on whether it's a 6 or a 12, then different sections of the report are available. So I run it to 12, so we get the full look at everything. And then we also confirm the type of advice that the firm gives. So this one is independent. But again, we can also choose restricted or a mix of both. As we say through the next, we'll run through each of the individual pages and ask for some information on those. Make sure I did this as a 12-month report. Sorry. So it'll ask us whether we hold clients' assets or money. The vast majority of our clients don't. It'll then ask us to confirm PI cover. So ask us whether the basis of the PI cover has changed or whether it's renewed. If it has renewed, we can click on yes, and it'll then ask us several other questions that we need to run through on it. So ask us to confirm what permissions we have, so whether we've got permissions for mortgages. It's frozen. So whether we have permissions for mortgages, whether we have permissions for protection and GI, and whether we do investment advice as well. If there's a retroactive start date to the policy, we can enter that here. It'll then ask us to confirm if you have mortgage permissions or investment permissions, the regulated business income from the previous report. It'll ask us for the annual cost of the policy and who the insurer is with. It pulls through the list of approved insurers from the FCA site. If it's not on the insurer house, or if it's someone, for instance, like Collegiate or Howden's, which are a broker, you can choose other on there. It'll ask us for the policy start date. And completion date. And for the indemnity limit, all ours will be sterling. What your indemnity limit is, and your aggregated indemnity limit there as well. Also confirm if there's any applicable policy exclusions on there. If there are, then we need to check that to see if there's any additional capital adequacy requirements required for it. And again, we can put our normal insurance on there. So our excesses, again, put the standard ones on there for each and every claim and for mortgages. And if there are any additional excesses on there, for instance, all other regulated, that can be added into the list as well and added onto the reporting requirements. If you do have any additional high excesses or anything on those lines, you can add each of the individual types, for instance, DB transfers. They can be added onto the list as well. And again, if there's any additional capital requirements for those, if you have any high excesses or any additional ones, they can be added into the report later to add onto the capital adequacy requirement. Yeah, we can confirm if there's any changes to the firm shareholding or structure in the prior 6-month period. If there has, we can add the yes boxes on there and has the FCA been notified. Once they come in there, it'll ask us to confirm that we've updated the staff register, which we've already looked in the settings. And again, it'll then ask us to confirm if we've advised on mortgages, give any protection or GI advice in the prior 6-month period, any retail investment advice, whether we've done any second charge advice on there as well. And also to confirm whether it's fair analysis or restricted, each of the types of insurance, mortgages, and if we're independent. And finally, it'll ask us if we received any clawbacks on pension or investment business. If you have investment permissions, obviously, if you don't have investment permissions, you can ignore those questions on the report because they won't be applicable to you. Give that a moment while it moves on. We confirm that you're regulated, and if you had any appointed reps, they can be added in at this point. So again, it's just the totals there of do you have any, how many you have, how many are introducers, if you have any second charges, etc., and the totals, whether they're monitored or not. Again, that then updates the relevant section on the reporting. Last one then, if you have protection and GI advice, it'll ask us for the total of the analysed premiums for the previous 6 months and the breakdown of those. Got 200 of critical illness and 800 of term. We do enter the values in there. If you do it that way, then it'll allow to, when it's submitted to the FCA, to see which is above 40% and so on. And submitting the individual values. Okay, just allows us to confirm the charge rates again, which are, I say, covered from the settings. We need to change those. And then finally, just confirmation if any of these obscure products are sold. The system will then go ahead now and it will calculate the RMAR reporting for you, so from sections A through to K. There is a corporation tax assessment on there for it, and as well there's a capital adequacy check on there as well. With it being a 12-month and this one having investment permissions, we can also add the client counting as well in the section K for that one. That's it. It runs through the report and then creates all the sections for you for that period all the way across. If we jump into section K, then we can scroll down and see all the answers to the questions for the wizards, and values from the individual headings are used to populate all the correct points of the reporting. For this one, then we can actually go in and add our client counts as well. So we've got 100 having ongoing advice. We had 5 join during the year and 2 leave during the year. The report then, as I say, generates each of the sections for you. So section A, the balance sheet, it will come through and it'll organise those into the correct sections from the way the accounting sits up with the heading usage to make sure everything's in its correct places. So we can then run through, check each of the individual sections, and it will give you the ongoing ones on there. Section B B is the profit and loss account. So again, we'll work through the profit and loss, and I'll split that up into your regulated business revenue, non-regulated, what's investment, what's mortgage, based on the heading usage on there. We'll work out our profit and loss prior to tax. So taxation and dividends are included after the profit and loss figure, and it will allow us to calculate the corporation tax on there. As this is 10,000 and it's below 50,000, the correct rate to use there is 19. If you do need to change the rate, you can update the percentage on here to correct that value. So your accountants have different figures that you need to put in. Or again, if you're above 50,000, you can use the marginal rate calculator to work out the correct percentage to use up until 250. So section C is the client's assets and money. So it's pre-fill those in that no, we don't, and answer those questions for us. And then the main one there is the regulatory capital. So depending on what the permission sets that you have, there'll be different capital adequacy requirements as well based on turnover and things on those lines. So we have if it's just mortgage advice at the top, it will show you the mortgage one on there. But if this company has investment permissions, it'll come down here. So we have a 20k base requirement. If there was any additional capital adequacy requirements that needed, we can set into section E, and that would then appease that underneath it and increase the additional capital. So we see for this one, they have a £20,000 capital requirement. Their balance sheet is at 402, so they have a surplus on there. So that's absolutely fine, and it'll build through these. If they don't have a surplus and they maybe have some subordinated loans or anything on those lines, they can be entered in as well to make sure capital adequacy is met. Section E then is our PI cover. So again, because we run through that in the width and antennas in, it's populated all the individual fields that we'd expect to see on there. And again, in this section there, if we do have any additional capital adequacy requirements, they can be added and saved on that. So that will then increase the capital adequacy requirement throughout the system. Section F then is if any notifiable changes. So that's what's populated the answers to the questions we ran through in the wizard. And then section G will be the confirmation of the types of advice you've give, number of employees that's on there, who's at supervisory level, so picked up from the staffing register. And again, it'll put through all your advisors at the bottom as well, and their qualifications, IRN numbers as needed. So again, it's all picked up from that staffing register. So section H just confirms if you're regulated, and if you don't have appointed reps, they will be filled in here from the wizard. And then section I is non-investment. So it's taken the £1,000 without that we did of non-investment insurance and split that up to say whether it's above 40% or not onto the reporting and what types have been selected. So okay, we've got the advisor charges. So again, it's facilities that pull those through from the individual parts of it, and that's where we add our client count in there. So it populates the section K. Again, if it was only if you didn't have investment permissions or it was a 6-month report, these sections wouldn't appear on there because they're only reported at 12 months. Section J, again, just confirms that we're regulated and rolls up the amounts that's needed onto the section K. If there's complaints and things on those, they'll be added onto the complaints section as well. From this, and if you're a SimplyBiz member, what you can do at that point is you could request a review if you wanted to, and that will generate a copy of that and send it to SimplyBiz compliance for them to sort of review it and check for you. So at this point, what we tend to do then is we're at the point of we've done the report, we've gone through the wizard, everything looks okay. We can actually do the submission to the FCA now. What I do have is just a little video of one of those running through. So I'll just give me 1 second, I'll show you that. Okay, so the submission goes through straightforward. It goes as the FCA ones to confirm it in the back end. Once that's done, then you can close it off in MyRegData and it's ready for the next one. Okay. System's very straightforward to get up and running. So all you need to do basically is enter your opening balances from whatever accounting system you're using at the moment, set up the bank accounts, your customers and suppliers, and then you can start entering the data entry in there. We do include an hour's training once you subscribe as well. So from that, we'll get you up and running. We find that seems to be a sufficient amount of time. There's full telephone and email support on there. So if you need that, you can either email into the support team or ring them. They're very knowledgeable and be able to help you possibly on that. We do have some price plans on there as well, so you can pay monthly or annually. We do have discounts available for certain compliance advisors as well. So if you get in touch with that, we can give you the discounted rates. So hopefully now you'll be able to see a quick overview of the system, see how easy it is to enter the data into it, manipulate it, have a look at the way that the actual reporting is required and produce the vegetated system and get that submitted over. If you have any questions or anything, you can log on to our website or you can email us at the end of the report. So we can do that to support at myregdata.co.uk. What I'll do now is I'll just stop sharing my screen a moment and then we can open the floor up to see if there's any questions. Okay, so there's a couple of questions in there. So I think somebody asked the cost of one of the prices on there. Like I say, I'll leave it open for another 5 minutes. If anyone has any questions, you can use that from the Q&A session in the system. But if not, thank you very much for listening and hope to speak soon. No questions appeared in the Q&A section, so I'd like to thank you all for attending and let you get back to your day. Thanks very much. Take care now.